Jeb, 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 Jeb. Proud to be a Bush.
Hey there, fellow Jeb heads. It's me, Doug, the number 5 Jeb head in America, and this is Pod to be a Bush. Joined with me today is my frequent Jeb head guest, George. How's it going, George?
It's going good. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have a fellow Jeb head on the podcast.
It's always a pleasure to be on here talking about the wonderful life of this beautiful man.
He is a beautiful man. I would say that was one of his biggest selling points in 2016. Unfortunately, he didn't win. But looks alone, just based off looks alone, he was the best looking. I would say he was better looking than Marco Rubio. Some people said that Marco Rubio had a nice face, but compared to Jeb, Jeb has a kind of a rustic Southern charm to him, whereas Marco Rubio...
It's true. Jeb does have this sort of approachable charisma that sort of lets him relate to anybody, and it almost feels like, no matter where I am, if I saw Jeb, I could go up to him and be like, hey, man, and it would be like talking to an old friend,
Exactly. Understand. All right, so let's get into the meat of this podcast, okay? This is a pilot mini episode, or Jebisode for you fellow Jeb heads out there.
Love that.
Oh man, I love Jeb's name goes with everything, just like Jeb's platform. Everyone loves it. So, anyways, the point of this podcast is that really we've been, me and the Jebhead community at large have been looking at the candidates for 2020, and really none of them are none of them feel like they're going to take America in a more positive place. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. The last presidential election cycle, we had this logjam of, 16 or more Republican candidates all vying for that spot. And that really took away our ability to examine each of them and give them their due diligence when there's just too many just throwing their name onto the table.
Absolutely. And let me just say something real quick. Every single Republican saw Jeb. They saw his charisma and his likability, and they all wanted to emulate him. And so what we ended up with was one, brash, racist, sexist, Trump, and then we had 15 Jeb Bushes, and that's just too many Jebs. I mean, there really only needs to be one.
It is. That's too many Jebs, and when you have such a great framework to work with, why not just go with the original?
Right. So, George, I want you to put your right hand up in the air. It's a podcast, so nobody's gonna be able to see it, but I trust you because you're a fellow Jeb head, and we don't lie.
I got it up.
Okay, you got it up. Do you swear that for the next year and a half that you're gonna give it your all, give your whole being into convincing Jeb Bush, the man, the myth, the legend, and convince him to run in the 2020 Republican primary? Put his name on the ballot? Yeah.
I think this year, more than any other year that I've been allowed to participate in politics, I feel like this is the year that I'm going to put the most energy I have ever done into politics. I really believe that for the Republican Party, Jeb is by far the best candidate they can select. And honestly, I feel like he's what America needs right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could not agree more. What we'll be doing throughout the next year and a half is we're going to be going out. We're going door to door. Okay. We're going to be door to door. Listen, we're going to have t-shirts. Okay. 3 letters and a punctuation at the end. Jeb.
Exclamation point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The exclamation point is probably that was one of the most important parts of his campaign. The excitement.
So exciting. And it really shows that he really embraces who he is. It's not Jeb Bush. It's Jeb with that exclamation point. And you know what? He is proud to be a Bush.
He is absolutely proud to be Bush. And that's why I spent countless months working out a good title for this, because as Jeb has taught all of us, is that slow and steady wins the race. We need to look at the fact that Jeb, he idolizes tortoises, okay? Because slow and steady will truly win the race. And this podcast is going to be, it's going to embody that tortoise spirit, okay?
And I can't wait to be a part of that process, Doug.
It's going to be slow. It's going to be grueling. We're going to deal with some people who would probably literally drink cyanide-laced Kool-Aid for Donald J. Trump, but we need to let them know there is a much better option. A much better option.
And that option, it's a dreamer. It's our next door neighbor. It's our mailman. This person is Jeb Bush, and he's a tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. But I feel like what people really need to grasp about Jeb,
what's that?
Is he expresses support for big aspirational goals. He's a dreamer, and that should captivate each and every one of us.
This is why I'm so happy for you to be on this podcast. You're like a wordsmith. You're like a word wizard, You just have way. You're like a word lock, if you will. I've been focusing on wordplay, so
that was really good. And it's the least I can do when talking about someone I truly believe in, and I truly believe that he can bring us together and he can show us, it doesn't have to be the right and the left. It can just be us. It can just be Americans.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for today, fellow Jeb heads. I'm really happy that you all stopped by and listened to this podcast. We're very excited because we think this is going to be the year. This year and the next year and the next 8 years. That this is going to be an era of Jeb, and we cannot wait for you all to join us on this journey as we try and we'll go out, canvass, caucus, primary, whatever we have to do to get Jeb on that ballot. So thank you all so much for listening. And George, you have any final words?
I'd just like to say, Jeb, 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 Jeb. We believe in you.
Oh my God,
Jeb.
We believe in you, Jeb. All right. So that's going to do it for us. My heart is racing right now because the possibilities are endless for Jeb. Oh, all right. This is going to do it for us. You take care now, Jeb Land.